very warm hello to all my learners all across the globe, all across India. This is a very important session and welcome to all of you to this wonderful session. We have definitely mastered basic, intermediate and advanced concepts. But what if we don't know in detail about the go-to exam strategy? Today, let's discuss in detail the go-to exam strategy. There are a lot of questions in our minds. Let's go ahead and find out the answers for all of them. So, I am Shruti Kaura and I am an award winner at Unacademy. You all can have a glimpse of my award. Let's go ahead. Now, definitely, there are a lot of batch courses. As I always say, go ahead, enroll yourself, start your beautiful journey of learning at Unacademy. This will definitely change your life. I really promise that. So here, what you have to do is that you have to use the code SCORALIVE in order to enroll at Unacademy and of course to get the discounts. Next, as I have mentioned, there are 2 subscriptions plus an iconic. So this is a scheme for plus, that is 6 plus 1, 18 plus 2, 24 plus 4. My God, free. That's very good. Then for iconic as well, there is 22%, 23% off on 12-month subscription. There is 42% off on the 24-month subscription. You all can have a look here. And definitely you'll get the benefit of 1:1 live doubt solving by experts, live concept discussion with experts, even the live mentorship by top B school graduates. So go ahead, book your slots. You'll get all the benefits of Plus, and definitely these benefits that I have just mentioned, they are for iconic. Again, you have to use the code SCORALIVE. Don't forget to use the code, otherwise you will not get the discount. Anyway, let's go ahead. Now, special price week. My God, for 24 months, the special price, look here. The amount that you're going to save is 6,232 if you enroll for 24 months. For 18 months, you're going to save again 5,425. And for 12 months, even you're going to save 4,285. This is for the Plus subscription for the CAT and other management exams. For iconic, again, look here, the amount that you're going to save for 24 months is 11,400. This is such a big deal. Come on, hurry up till the stock lasts. Then it's 9,453 for the 18 months, and for 12 months, you'll end up saving 7,545. So hurry up, use your educator code. It's clearly written, and my code is SCORALIVE. Use that. Only 5 days are remaining. This is a special prize week. CAT and OMETS. OMETS are other management exams. So all the prices only for this week, they have been reduced by 10%. So you will end up having these much savings. Go ahead, please do enroll yourself. Then of course, MBA 2021 mock marathon is there. 6 months, again, it's just 4,300 per month. Do go ahead, enroll yourself. But again, don't forget to use the code SCORALIVE. This will give you a boost. India's biggest scholarship test, that is also here. Again, you have to use the code in order to win the scholarship of 55 lakhs. So again, there are rank 1 to 3, then 1 year CAT subscription free, 4 to 10, 75% scholarship. Between, if your rank is between 11 to 50, 50% scholarship. If it is between 51 to 200, you'll get 25% scholarship. So what are you waiting for? At the end of the day, it's all for your benefit. Fine. As I always say, VARC, go to exam strategy, seems easy. But if you're not aware of the details, if you're not aware of a lot of things, then this could, create a little stress on you on the time when you're sitting in the exam. So plan to win. I don't say play to win, because you play not just to win or lose. You play because you want to participate. But when you plan, so you plan to win. So my favorite line, as I always say, always plan to win. Fine. Now, a question question to all of you, which is the first section of the CAT exam. I'm repeating once again, all of you right here in the live chat, which is the first section of CAT exam. Yes, all of you. So, yes, I can see everybody is typing. Come on, everybody, all across India, all across the world. There are so many people who are listening to me right here in the live chat. Yes. So, the first section is the VARC. Verbal ability and reading comprehension is the first section of the CAT exam. Yes, it is. Now, VRC section is divided into two parts. That is the multiple choice questions, MCQs, and type in the answer. That is theta questions, MCQs and thetas. So, VRC in the CAT exam is divided into two parts. Clear? Very good. Next. Which is the second section of the CAT exam? Which is the second section of the CAT exam? In the second section, DILR is waiting for you. That is data interpretation and logical reasoning. So the total number of questions in the DILR in the CAT 2020 was 24 questions, out of which 18 were for DI, that is data interpretation, and 6 were for the logical reasoning. Of course, which is the third section of the CAT exam. Of course, you all know it very well now. The third section, the section which is left is the QA, that is quantitative aptitude, quantitative ability. QA is the third section. The total number of questions in CAT 2020 were 26, same as for VARC. The toughest section, even in CAT 2019, was VARC, and the passage on British colonialism was tougher. Now, if we do a little analysis from 2010 to 2013, right? Let's go ahead and let's, predict something. Let's understand what is going to come. Ultimately, at the end of the day, we know that CAT is out of the bag. But how much is inside, how much is out? Let's just try to understand. So, from CAT 2010, from the year 2010 to 2013, the total number of questions in all the three sections, that is VARC, DILR and QA, they were 60. They were the total number of questions as opposed to 76 in CAT 2020. The total time was 140 minutes. But if you talk about 2010, in 2010, it was 150 minutes. You used to get 150 minutes. So I'm repeating once again, from the year 2010 to 2013, the total number of questions in all the three sections were 60. Write it down in your notepad, write it down in the live chat, 60. The time allotted was continuously from 2011 to 2013 was 140, but in 2010 it was 150. Then from 2014 to 2019, the total number of questions increased to 100. From 60 questions in all the three sections, the question were 100. The total number of questions in all the three sections were 100. And the time also increased from 140 to 180 minutes. But in 2017, that is 2014 again, it was 170 minutes. The time allotted was 170 minutes in 2014. But overall, if you talk about 60 questions from 2010 to 2013, and the time was 140 minutes, but from 2014 to 2019, the total number of questions increased from 60 to 100, and time also increased from 140 to 180, leaving apart 150 in 2010, that was an exception, and then 170 in 2014. Overall, you can see 60 to 100, 140 to 180. That's what you could see. Now, let's talk about the last year in CAT 2020. You know the changes, the announcement of the changes just came 70 odd days before the CAT exam, 70. And how much time is left now? CAT is going to be in the, second week of November or first week of November. Anyway, the fact is that You can. Why this particular question? Because the changes were not being introduced. They have not been introduced long back. When only 70 days were left for the exam, that the changes were introduced. So you can imagine the same thing. Now the big question, what were those changes? Earlier from 60 to 100, the questions, increased from 60 to 100. The time also increased from 140 to 100. So what were those changes in CAT 2020? So actually from 3 hours, the time was reduced to just 2 hours. That means 40 minutes per section. That is how it boils down to 120 minutes. So from 3 hours, the time was reduced to 2 hours. Even the person with disabilities, they used to get 20 minutes extra earlier. They used to get 20 minutes extra in each section, but now they only got 13.20 minutes extra. From 20, it got reduced to 13.2. Then how many questions in 2 hours? Earlier it was 60. Then it went to 100. And in CAT 2020, how many questions were there? Were there any negative marking? Absolutely yes. So the question again increased or decreased? Actually, it decreased. If you compare from 2014 to 2019, they were 100. It decreased to 76. But if you talk about 2010 to 2013, there were only 60 questions. And now in 2020, you got 76 questions which you have to do in 2 hours, and sectional time limit is 40 minutes. That is 40 minutes for DILR, 40 minutes for QA, 40 minutes for VARC. And what about the negative marking? Plus 3 for the correct answer for multiple choice questions or for the non-MCQs or theta. So you can call thetas as non-MCQs as well. -1 for the wrong answer, and even for the theta. So do we have any negative marking for the theta? No. It's a big 0. That means there is no negative marking. Even if you go wrong in the para jumbles, para completion, para summary, odd one out, even if you go wrong, there is no negative marking. Good point. Next, if there is no negative marking for theta or non-MCQs, that is non-multiple choice question, what does that mean? If it is a good point, what do I mean by that good point? Can we define that why this is a good point? Let's go ahead and find out. Actually, this is a hint, this is a subtle hint for all of you that focus equally or more on the speed and accuracy for the theta questions. That is the para jumbles, para summary, para completion, odd one out. If you really want to increase your overall percentile, focus equally or more on the theta question, because there is no negative marking, and if I really want to increase my percentile, then this is a good option. Don't consider these as, oh my god, this is just something extra. Okay, most of the people are under the assumption that there is no need to give extra efforts to these theta question, but I'm telling you this is not right. Next, are there more reasons to focus on the verbal ability section of the CAT exam? Of course, these para jumbles, para completion, para summary and odd one out, they come under the verbal ability part, because the next part is the reading comprehension. So are there any more reasons to focus on the VA section of the CAT exam? Yes, there are. Because in 2020 it was okay, right? Para summary had short answers, although options were tricky, but it was kind of doable, right? Even summary questions had got close option, that is what we mean by tricky. Para jumbles were higher level of difficulty. If you say higher level of difficulty, no, we would say moderate. VRC was again toughest in 2020. If you talk about 2019, if you talk about 2020, VRC was toughest. So why focus more or equally? In that case, now I have shown you a very grim picture, like questions were difficult, options were tricky. Then why should we focus more or equally on the VA question? Actually, first of all, I don't have to put so much efforts into these questions. It requires very less efforts. Again, there is no negative marking, so there are very high chances I can increase my percentile. I can give a push to my percentile. Please, this is the reason and many other reasons I have kept this particular session, and I want all of you to seriously take cognizance, to take note of this particular fact that I am telling you. The next question, what about RCs, the reading comprehension? This we discussed about verbal abilities, that in the exam there is no negative marking, so concentrate, focus equally or more on the verbal ability part too. What about the reading comprehensions? 2 passages with 4 questions and 2 passages with 5 questions. Okay, so what was the level of difficulty? Yeah, they were medium to difficult. What was the length of the RCs that came in 2020 CAT exam? They were somewhere near about 450 to 500 words, 400 to 500 words. How many total questions are there in the VARC section, or how many total questions were there in the VARC section? So 26 was the number. Total VARC questions in CAT 2020. There were 26 questions, out of which 8 were for verbal ability, that is para jumble, para completion, para summary and odd one out. And 18 questions were from the reading comprehension passages, that is again 2 passages with 4 questions, 2 passages with 5 questions. Okay. And what was the marking scheme? Basically, I just now told you that 26, right? In 2020, the total number of questions were 26. So you multiply 26 by 3, which comes out to 78. What do I mean by that? Why 3? Because if your answer is right, you're going to get 3 marks for the right answer. So if all your 26 questions are right, the total is 78. Again, for the DI, the total number of questions were 24 multiplied by 372. For the QA, again, the total number of questions were same like VRC. You multiply by 3, it's the same as 78. And if you add, if you do a total, the total marks in all the 3 sections is 228. And the duration, as I shared with you, 2 hours, that is 120 minutes, 228 marks. You have to score somewhere around 105 or 110 in order to get a 99 percentile. This will actually lead you to 99 percentile. Next point, how much do you need to score to get 99 percentile in VARC? Now the next question, the big question is that this was all about the 3 sections. But if we specifically target VARC, then how much do I need to score? Or how much do you need to score to get 99 percentile in VARC? Out of 26 questions are 10, 20 or 22 with 75 accuracy, 75% accuracy. In the sense, there are 26 questions. Everybody, please listen to me. There are 26 questions. Out of those 26 questions, I have attempted only 20. Maybe 6 questions, maybe I didn't attempt 6 questions. Or if I have attempted 22 questions, maybe 4 questions I failed to attempt. In that case also, even if you attempt 20 or 22 and out of that 20 or 22, 75% are correct, you are in that 99.99 percentile category. Is that point clear, everybody all across India? So basically, a score of 40 or 42 is enough for a 99 percentile. Next, what if you get only 24 or 26 out of 78? Let's say you did not get 40 or 42 out of 78. You only got just 20 or 24 out of 78. Even though, please listen to me, Out of 78, even if you got 20 or 24, then also it will give you 85 percentile. 24 or 26 marks will lead you to 85 percentile. Yes, that is why accuracy matters in this exam. Now the next big question is that, ma'am, every time CAT changes the number of questions. Every time CAT changes the number of questions. So what is the parameter on which we decide how many questions should we attempt? Out of them, how much needs to be correct? So what if the number of questions change in 2021, 2022 or even in the coming years 2023? Now, I'm telling you one simple formula. One simple formula, whatever the number of questions are, just do 75% of those questions accurately in order to score 99 percentile. I'm repeating once again, whatever the number of questions are, let's say 26, let's say 36, out of that just do 75% of the questions correctly. Be sure on the 75% of the questions and you'll be in the league of 99 percentile students, right? Next, if you talk about CAT VARC 2020, for the RC, as I just shared with you, 2 passages with 4 questions, 2 passages with 5 questions. Now in that case, 18 is the total number of questions in the reading comprehension section. So the big question, the $1 million question, what should be the ideal attempt? See, 14 or 16 questions, it is considered as an ideal attempt. Out of 18 questions, please jot it down. If you are only able to complete 14 or 16 questions, that is fair and well. It's wonderful, perfect, too good. For the para jumble, 3 questions are there. Go ahead, do all the 3. Summary again 3. Then ideal attempt is 3 only. For the para jumble, that is again for the odd one out 2. Ideal attempt is okay 2. In the sense, whatever the number of questions in para jumble, para summary, odd one out you get, just do all of them. That is okay because there is no negative marking. No? So why are you going to leave those questions? There is no harm. Next, under RC, the number of questions 18. If you talk about the level of difficulty, they were medium to difficult. The currency in Tang Empire, again it was easy to medium. Elephant, as I just shared with you, natural science passages, these elephant, dog and many other passages that are related to natural science, they are a hot favorite topic as well. So that was again medium to difficult, which is easy to do. Don't worry, I'll answer the question that how should I choose which passage to solve first. Don't worry, I'll answer that question as well. Before that, just do an analysis. If you talk about the third reading comprehension passage, right, it was about importance of grammar. It was again easy to medium. You can look at the topic, you can see. Then look at the next topic, subsets of anarchist philosophy. No doubt, passages related to philosophy are generally considered tough. So ideally, this should not be your first attempt. But no, that's not the criteria. Okay, that is not the sole criteria to judge passages. Let's go ahead. Next. If we talk about para jumbles, 4 sentences were there. Medium to difficult. Right, odd one out or out of context, again easy to medium. Summary was again easy to medium. You can see that. That is why I told you. That is why I told you concentrate on the VA part as well, the verbal ability part as well. It will really fetch you very good percentile. If all your questions are correct, it's +3, +3, +3 because there is no -1. Next. The big question, the $1 million question. How should I select the reading comprehensions? Which passage am I going to attempt first? Which passage second? second, which one third, and which one last? Let's go ahead. I'll solve this myth once and for all. Now, should you choose it based on the type of the RC, like the genres, the subject of RC? So, is this the sole criteria, the only criteria to choose the RC passages based on the type of reading comprehensions or based on the subject? Actually, no. Actually, no. Don't choose by the topic or type or subject of the RC. Don't choose an RC passage purely on the basis of the subject or the type or the topic of the RC passage. No, that is not considered as a very wise decision in the exam. Next, then how should you choose the RC passage? So choose the RC passage based on the writing style. The writing style which is easy, which you find easy, which you feel that, oh my God, I'm able to comprehend the RC passage quickly. Right? I'm repeating once again. Choosing an RC passage purely based on the topic, subject, or type is generally not considered a very wise option. Rather, choose the RC passage based on the writing style. That is how easy that passage is for you to comprehend, and that too quickly. Next, what is exactly meant by easy writing style? Now, I shared with you that writing style. So the question comes is that, ma'am, in that case, what is exactly meant by easy writing style? What is this easy writing style? I'll throw some light on this easy writing style too. Look here. Actually, a style is considered as an easy writing style when you are moving from one sentence to the next, right? With so much ease, almost effortlessly. That is considered as the easiest writing style in an RC passage when I am moving from one particular sentence to the next, second to the third, and ultimately from first paragraph to the second to the third, similarly, so forth and so on. In that case, as I have practiced with all of you in the plus sessions, so you must have seen the practice I have done with you. In the plus sessions, you must have seen that we have done so many difficult passages related to totalitarianism, imperialism, hegemony, Puritan society, runes, runologist, right? Then capitalism, socialism, related to biology, chemistry, sociology, psychology. We have done so many passages in the class. You must be able to comprehend by this time. What do I mean by easy writing style? There are certain passages, initially they seem tough, but when you start reading the first paragraph, when you move from first line to second, second to third, third to fourth, and ultimately from first paragraph to second, you find it quite easy to comprehend the passage. That is what I suggest. Choose the passage based on the writing style. Next, I should be able to understand the consistent flow of thoughts in the RC passage easily. In the sense, to put what I have said in other words, to simplify it, I have just said that I know that author is moving in a consistent manner, and I am able to understand that consistent flow of thoughts. What and how the author is moving, I should be able to interpret or comprehend that consistency in the flow of the thoughts in that particular RC passage. That is considered as an easy RC passage. Next, don't select passages with complex writing style. वो passages हम select करेंगे जिनका writing style easy है, but वो passages जिनका complex writing style है, we are not going to select them. So what do we exactly mean by complex writing style? Very easy to answer now for all of you. What is meant by complex writing style? Actually, complex writing style is a style where the arguments are too heavy. They are very dense. It's very challenging to keep track of those arguments. There are a lot of, ambiguity. Even though there is a paradox, even though there is a hidden assumption, but that is very difficult to find out. That is very difficult to keep track of author's argument, where he is strengthening his point, where he is weakening his point. We are unable to get hold of that. We are unable to get the main idea. We are unable to comprehend or move easily from one line to another, or even from first to second paragraph, and so forth and so on. Actually, overall, complex writing style is a style where the arguments are too heavy, they are too dense. It's very challenging to keep track of them. Even if I talk about vocabulary, it's very complex. We have never heard of those difficult vocabulary, or that difficult terms, or those difficult words. Even if I have never seen, I have never heard that vocabulary, still I'm unable to get it. I'm unable to comprehend it from the contextual meaning. It's getting difficult for you to comprehend that vocabulary from the contextual meaning. So please don't attempt passages with complex writing style. Choose passages based on easy writing style, and I have already defined what is an easy writing style. Everybody all across India, all across the world, is everybody clear? What do I mean by easy writing style? If anybody is still not clear, I can once again explain that again in simple words. I'll try to find out more simple words to explain what I have just mentioned. Next, the last and the final tip to select RCs. Oh my God! Is there anything else as well? Yes, there is. Actually, try to pick RCs again from the topic you are already familiar of. Point number 1, writing style. Point number 2, that is combined efforts, or the combined point number 1 and point number 2 will fetch you the results. It's not only based on the topic that you like business, you like economy, you like philosophy, you like sociology. Choose that passage. No, that could be a trap. But point number 1, that is an easy writing style, combined with point number 2, where you feel that I am already familiar of this topic, I am aware of some background knowledge about this topic, I think I'll be able to comprehend it easily. Even though, let's take a worst case scenario class. Let's say out of the 4 or the 5 passages, you are unable to find out the passage with the easy writing style. आपको कोई भी passage ऐसा नहीं मिला where you can get an easy writing style. So what to do? So the next tip or the next trick is choose the passage based on the topic you are already familiar of. Maybe you are aware of the background knowledge. Maybe you are aware of something about that topic. You have heard, you have seen it, you have read it somewhere. Choose the passage based on that. Why? Because it will really help you to predict the ideas. You'll start predicting the ideas. For example, there was a passage we did. Maybe I think yesterday or day before yesterday's session, where we were talking about journalism. So author again and again is mentioning about detachment. Author again and again is mentioning about that they are doing a relentless pursuit of audience, and due to which majority of the editorial investments or editorial information is actually targeted towards those reasons, towards those factors, right? So that is why you are already aware of the factor. You have already done this concept earlier, that sometimes media is a little biased. It's not completely unbiased. You read it somewhere in one of the passage and the author is also making the same point. So it became a little easier for you to interpret. So if you're aware of the topic, then it will help you to predict ideas and then you will get a quick and effective understanding. You will be able to comprehend the passage much faster. So I hope these two strategies are clear to you. So follow the same strategy even when you are solving mocks. This was go to exam strategy. Now come to the part when we are solving the mocks. Even when we are solving the mocks, follow the same strategy. First, try to find out the easy writing style. That easy writing style I have already defined. Second, if you have gotten an easy writing style and maybe for the second or the third passage you are unable to find out an easy writing style, so choose on the basis of the topic which you are already familiar of. Then of course pick the easiest passage first, even in mocks. This will actually build up my confidence. I'll feel more enthusiastic and excited to solve the paper. Next, the big question. How can I become familiar with the topic of RC passages? Are there any standard topics? Yes, absolutely correct. We have done a lot of practice on these topics. Practice RC passages from different areas to become familiar with the technicalities of the subject. The big question is that, why do I need to practice from different areas, from different topics? At the end of the day, RC strategy is same. Be the passages from history, sociology, philosophy, psychology, geography, biology, chemistry. Ultimately, I am solving the RC passage. So the big question is that, why do you need to read from different topics? Because it will really make you familiar with the technicalities of the subject. When you do a lot of concepts from different areas of reading comprehension passages class, it will give you a boost. It will give you a confidence of the technicalities of that particular subject, because in every subject, right, there are almost 5 or 6 things that are always common, and the author would love to discuss those things again and again. Let's go ahead. Let's find out the topics. What all are the different topics of RC passages that you should concentrate? What all are the different topics? Let's go ahead, find out. Science. That is a natural science, the ultimate favorite. Be it chemistry, be it biology, be it the physics, the Einstein theory, E is equal to mc square, or the theory of relativity. Science, technology, social sciences, health, business or economy, sports, lifestyle, history, anthropology, education, opinion-based passages, philosophy, psychology, mythology, culture, abstract topics, art and literary criticism, environment, fiction, sociology. So my advice to all of you, try to read. If not reading of the articles, if you feel that no, reading is something not my forte, then I suggest take passages. Don't just do reading. Try to solve RC passages. Read the RC passages. Then you'll get that boost. Because if you're reading an article, maybe you'll not find it interesting enough because there are no questions. But if you solve reading comprehension passages on all these topics, it will have questions afterwards, and you will get that boost, that kick to read, to analyze that topic, that particular subject, that particular area further. That is my advice to all of you. Next. Now, we discussed about which RC should you attempt first. What are the different topics of RCs? Now, the next big question is that, what are the type of questions? And which question should you attempt first? Now, for the RCs, I got the answer. But in the RCs, there are 4 or 5 questions. So, if I am going to attempt at least 3 questions accurately. Then what are going to be those 3 or 4 questions? Let's go ahead. Let's first find out the type of questions that you're going to encounter in the reading comprehension section. So each passage carries somewhere 4, 5 or 6 questions. If you look at last year, there were just 4 or 5 questions. 2 passages with 4 questions, 2 passages with 5 questions, right? So these questions could be of the following type. The questions based on the central theme, main idea, central idea, purpose. This is what based upon. Second, vocabulary based questions, inference based questions, facts based questions, questions based on the tone of the passage, structure based questions, title based questions. Now let's take each of the question in detail and let's see, are we actually good in that particular question and where are we lacking? Let's go ahead and find out. So if I talk about the questions based on the central theme or the central idea or the main idea, they'll identify you, they'll ask you, actually you have to identify the central theme of the passage. That is a main idea. And how the questions will be framed, which of the following options sums up the theme of the passage, the central theme, the central idea, the main idea. Basically, they'll be asking you, asking you to focus on the theme of the passage. The theme, the option that sums up the theme of the passage. Next, what is the central or the main idea of the topic? Then choose from the below mentioned options the idea that is the central theme, the main idea, whatsoever on the similar lines. The next type of questions are vocabulary based questions. What do I mean by these questions? Actually, these type of questions, they are based on the word meanings, antonyms or synonyms. Like a particular word from the passage will be given and you will be asked to tell the meaning of that word. Sometimes a word will be given and you will be asked the synonym of that word or the antonym. So basically, what is the meaning of dash? A word will be there from the passage. Or what is the synonym or the antonym of that particular word? Again, the word from the passage, and there will be options. There will be, kind of 4 options for that. Now, what is the tip? What is the trick to crack the vocabulary based questions? Only one trick will work here. Have a super strong vocabulary. Like daily when I start the plus session, we do a lot of vocabulary discussion, right? Opprobrium, decry, denunciation, censure, criticizing. There are a lot of words that we did. Same is the case with disparaging, pejorative, persecute. So similarly, my advice to all of you, have a very super strong vocabulary base in order to attempt these kinds of questions. Next, inference based questions, where you have to infer the meaning of some particular line, some particular text. These are the toughest type of questions, no doubt. The correct answer, no, it's completely dependent on the main idea. If you need to find the correct answer, it's completely dependent on the main idea of the passage. What do I mean by that? Actually, I need to understand the argument presented in the passage. The author has defined an argument in the reading comprehension passage, and you should be able to identify that argument presented in the passage, basically the main idea. And the type of questions will be, how the questions will be framed, I'll tell you. What does the author mean by this? What do you infer from this? What does the author mean by this? Some particular line, some particular paragraph. What do you infer from this? Again, some statement from the passage. One tip that I would like to suggest all of you while solving inference-based questions, you have to keep in your mind, you have to tell this to your Jarvis. What is that one tip? Just break down the sentences while reading the passage. While you're reading the passage, let's say a big sentence is there, break down that sentence, right? Try to understand the basic theme, the central idea. If possible, you can take mental notes or physical notes. Initially, if you are a beginner, take physical notes. But as you have moved to the advanced, intermediate or expert level, then start taking mental notes. So one tip to solve the inference based questions is that while you are reading a single sentence in a RC passage or even a question, inference based question, so in that passage, break that sentence while reading that particular statement, that passage. This will really help you to comprehend that passage, that paragraph, that line effectively. Next, what is that one common mistake while solving inference based questions? Is there any kind of general mistake that everybody does? Let's go ahead and find out what's that. Actually, when you select an answer option that is completely outside the scope of the passage, sometimes you end up choosing an option which is totally outside the scope of the passage. That is one common mistake students generally do while doing the inference based question. So don't do that. Don't choose an answer option which is outside the scope of the passage. Next, agree disagree questions. Author agree disagree question. What are these types of questions? Actually, these questions are asked in two ways. Either a statement will be given based on the overall emotion, tone, attitude or the sentiment of the passage. Like a statement will be there based on the overall mood of the author, the overall central theme, the sentiment of the passage. Right? You'll get one particular statement. And statement is given on the specific aspects. It's not sometime you get a statement based on the general aspect or the general theme. That is okay, but sometime the author picks up some specific aspects of the passage and then that statement will be given to you. If we talk about the agree disagree, so the question will be somewhere whether the author agree or disagree to the central theme of the passage or agree disagree to the specific aspect of the passage. This is where these questions becomes a little trickier. What is that one common mistake while solving agree disagree questions? Actually, you fail to comprehend the question carefully. Just like I do in the plus sessions, I make sure that you activate your Jarvis and you ask the question, did we actually see not or accept in the question? You always ask these questions to yourself. Similarly, in the agree disagree questions, you fail to comprehend the question carefully. Why? Because the statement, look at the way questions are framed here. The statement, the author does not agree. The statement, the author does not disagree, etc., etc., etc. So one common mistake when students are doing the agree disagree questions, they fail to comprehend the questions carefully because the questions are framed. Next, if you talk about the facts based question, what do I mean by fact based question? Any idea? Just now we did a lot of types, the vocabulary based, the central idea based, the central theme based, inference based, agree disagree based. Now we are moving to facts based. What are these types of questions? They are easy to solve, first of all, because if we have read the passage carefully, we'll be able to mark the important points. When we have gotten the complete clarity of the questions, here again the same fact, the same particular thing is important. You should be able to understand the question completely, get complete clarity of the question, do understand the question well before answering. Even fact-based questions, all the questions are framed. Next, so what type of questions are fact-based questions? Now this question must be there in your mind. It must be lingering in all your minds that what type of questions are fact-based questions. Actually, fact-based questions are in the form of fill in the blanks. You get some, fill in the blanks. You get some true, false statements, which is true according to the author, which is false according to the author. Correct, incorrect statements, not just based on the author, but on the facts that have been presented in the passage, not just purely based on author's opinion. Next, structure-based questions, as I always share with you. We have already done the theory related to the structure of the passage. So there will be a question based on the structure too. That is a passage structure based. Now, what kind of questions are these questions? The questions that will ask you to arrange the arguments in a logical manner. Sometimes they are not purely based on cause and effect or compare and contrast. No. Sometimes these kind of questions will ask you to actually arrange the arguments in a logical manner. And what do I mean by logical manner? In the same manner which has been discussed in the passage. Next, in the exam, you may also be asked to analyze the logic. Even sometimes, I'll be asked to analyze the logic behind that particular paragraph if we talk about the fact-based question. Let's look at an example to make it more clear. What does the last paragraph describe? We did this type of question, if you remember, where I asked you the main idea related to the, I think, the fourth paragraph only. So what does the last paragraph describe? This is a fact-based question. What is the main argument in the second paragraph? No, this is structure-based question, right? Last paragraph, again the structure, or the second paragraph, such kind of questions are structure-based questions. What is a strategy to score in structure-based question? What is a strategy? Just very simple. Read the passage in parts. Try to get the gist, the thesis argument, the scope of that paragraph. Every paragraph, please everybody concentrate, listen, this is very important. You must have learned with me in the plus sessions as well. All of you know that each paragraph has a thesis argument. Each paragraph has a different thesis argument. Overall, the scope is based on the thesis argument. Try to understand the gist of that particular paragraph. You will be able to solve these structure-based questions. That what is the particular line, what is the meaning of the second paragraph, what is the argument in the fourth paragraph. If you are able to comprehend the thesis argument of that particular paragraph, you will be able to solve structure-based questions. Next, here in the structure-based question, do a thorough analysis for the transition words like however, but, although. Why? Because conjunctions can change the meaning of the sentence. So make sure you look out for the transitions, the conjunctions, they are very important. Then the title-based questions. In the title-based questions, you have to choose an appropriate title for the given passage. Sometimes, maybe for the given paragraph, even if we talk about the forthcoming exams. Next, these type of questions can be tricky. Why? Finding the title of the RC passage is quite easy. Why it could be tricky? Because if I fail to understand the passage well, I'm repeating once again, if you fail to understand the passage well, you won't be able to find the title. Why so? Because actually in these type of questions, the trick is that you not just have to choose the right answer, you have to choose the most apt option. The option which suits perfectly as the title of the passage, or the title which is closest to the theme of the passage. Title also comes from the main idea. So that is why when we talk about the title based questions, what is that one trap that you can fall into? we'll end up finding the right answer. We feel that the right answer is not there in the options. No, don't do that mistake, because you don't just have to choose the right answer, you have to choose the most apt option, which could be the title of the passage. Next, tone-based questions of the RC passage. Tone also means, other paraphrasing for the tone word is attitude or the mood of the author. Questions based on the tone, mood, attitude of the passage author. So basically here I need to apply some critical thinking, because sometimes we have seen that the author keeps on changing the tone in the passage. So be sure of the tone that is consistent throughout the passage. Now, what kind of questions we can see in the exam? What is the attitude of the author while saying? Maybe some particular statement will be there. And see, the one who's going to set the paper, that is the question paper setter, it's not necessary that he'll ask you the overall tone of the passage. He or she could ask you the tone of the particular statement too. Or maybe if it's general, then the tone of the author is best described as. What is the trick to solve tone-based questions? Actually, just 3 words. You should be aware of the nature of the passage. The nature of the passage is based on just 3 words. It's either it could be positive, negative, or neutral. I mean, there are so many words: angry, harsh, indignant, excited, didactic, right, mournful. There are so many words for the tone. You could do that. When I take the plus sessions at an academy, I generally teach all the tones, but on a broader note, on a broader sense, be aware of these 3 words. The tone of the passage is generally divided into 3 words. That is considered as the nature of the passage: positive, negative, or neutral. Next, what are paraphrased questions? Now, if I talk about the word paraphrase, what do I mean by the word paraphrase? Actually, paraphrase means writing the same statement using some other words without changing the meaning of the statement. Let's say, I'll repeat once again to put it in simpler words. If I have to write exactly the same statement what is written here, but I have to change the words. So I changed the words of the original statement, but I did not change the meaning of the original statement. That is what you call paraphrasing. So what do I mean by paraphrase questions? Question that will ask you to explain the meaning of a particular statement, or you'll be asked to conclude from that statement. So what is the most important tip to solve these questions? Read the line before and after the one given. Let's say a statement is given. Just read one line up and one line below of that particular line when we have to talk about the paraphrased questions. So again, I'll repeat. What do I mean by paraphrased questions? The questions where we have been asked to interpret or comprehend the meaning of particular statement, or sometimes we have to conclude from that statement. So in that case, from wheresoever in the passage that statement is taken, let's say this statement is taken from the second paragraph. So just read one line up from that statement or one line down in that particular second paragraph. That is how you'll be able to solve the paraphrase questions. So these have important hints. You need to identify for the correct answer. Follow these hints. Next, $1 million, or rather the $10 million question. Which question should you attempt first? So if you do the right analysis, if you have done the right analysis of the passage, you'll be able to answer the following questions that I'm going to show you in the next slide without even referring to the passage again. There is no need for you, trust me, This happens in my live class. All my students all across India at Unacademy, in all the plus sessions, they solve questions in the same manner. They don't go back and read the passage once again. They just read the passage in 2 rounds and then they solve the questions. So this is what I'm telling you. The next slide, the next set of questions that I'm going to show you in the next slide, you will be able to solve them without referring to the passage second time or the third time or the fourth time, whatever. Look here. The main idea questions, the main point questions, the central idea, the central topic, the central theme questions. Ideally, you should attend them first. Even the structure-based question, that is what has been said in the second paragraph or the fourth paragraph or whatever. And organization-based structure and organization-based questions. Tone and attitude of the author, like what is the tone of the author in the overall passage or in the particular line or in the particular paragraph. That is, again, it could be determined from the main idea. Same is the case for title of the passage. If you have to choose an apt title, mind it apt. Again, you can do it without referring back to the passage. So title of the passage, tone and attitude, structure and organization based questions, main idea based questions, you should do first. Next point. What about the detailed questions or the extrapolation questions or the new situation questions, where I need to refer to the passage again? What about those questions? Actually, what are detailed questions is very important for you to understand. See, inference-based questions, vocabulary-based questions, fact-based questions, agree-disagree questions, and paraphrased questions. These all are detailed questions. Try to do them in the second round, because here you need to go back to the passage and you need to refer to those particular lines. Now, last but not the least, how much time should you spend in solving one RC passage? I suggest you should not spend more than 4 again I'm saying too much. Just like that, 3 to 4 minutes in reading, and then the next 3 to 4 minutes in solving the questions, not more than that. Next, can I choose now answering some of the questions which could be there in your mind, some minor aspects of the exam, but yes, they are equally important. Can I choose the test slot of the CAT exam as per my choice? If this question is there in your mind, the answer is no. The slots, that is slot 1, 2, 3, it's given on first come first serve basis. The next question that must be there in your mind, how should I mark answers in the CAT exam? It's a computer based test. So there will be 4 options on your computer screen. You have to choose one option to move to the next question. What are those options? There will be options of save and next. There will be option of clear response, CR. There will be option of mark for review, that you can come back and again review. You have not submitted it yet, then next. You can directly go to the next one. Without, you haven't marked anything, you can go to next. You have to complete each section within the specified time limit. For example, in 2020, if the time limit was 40 minutes, and if those 40 minutes per section is over, you're not allowed to go back. Screen will automatically move to the next section. From VARC, it will go to DILR. From DILR, it will move to QA after 40 minutes. No changes, no corrections will be allowed at a later stage. What all will you get in the exam? Right? Are you going to get any chocolates, toffees, goodies, juices in the exam? Obviously no. You'll be given an on-screen calculator. Yes, on-screen calculator will be allowed. There will be on-screen clock. So you're not allowed to carry your watch. extra sheet will be given for the rough work. Just one mantra before I end this session, just one mantra for all of you. Today we did the go to exam strategy, how to choose the RC passages, how to choose the question, types of RC passages, types of questions, and some questions related to 2019, 2020, maybe the analysis of exams from 2010 to 2013, then from 2014 to 2019. Again, I asked you to put equal emphasis on the verbal ability part as well. Don't just ignore the verbal ability part. Why? Because there is no negative marking. But the first and foremost thing, if you really want to prepare for VRC and if you really, if you really dream to score 99.9 or even 100 percentile in VRC, stick to the rule of concept first. Learn the theory, the strategies, the tricks first and then practice later. I'm repeating once again, to prepare for VRC, stick to the rules of concepts first and practice later. Don't do the opposite. You will not get the results. Next, there is a YouTube assignment. I want all of you to do it. Right? There are 6 questions here. You leave your answers in the comment section of this video. I'll be replying to each one of you who will complete the YouTube assignment. At the end of the day, let us read and let us dance, because these 2 amusements will never do any harm to the world, not said by me, by Voltaire. Don't forget to use the code ESCORALIFE for discounts on Plus and Iconic membership. Just do 3 things: like, comment and share if you really like, if you really enjoyed. This is Shruti Kaura class signing off for today. We'll meet very soon and we'll discuss more interesting topics. Alright, goodbye. Adios and gracias. Alright.